Okay. Hi, everybody. We are recording. I just spoke for about 5 minutes and I'm going to start over because I did not press record. So I'm going to start over just in case. I want to give a warm welcome to any of you that are tuning in live, as well as any of you that are catching the replay, whether it's Zoom or Facebook Live through our Clean Conversations event page. So my name is Jocelyn Rose Settle, and I am joined here by 4 amazing, beautiful, wise, healing women entrepreneurs who are Beautycounter consultants, as well as so much more. We have Marty Yura, who is a yoga studio owner, and really it's more than a studio, it's a healing center in Atlanta, Georgia area. We have Evie, who is a massage therapist and a studio owner in upstate New York, also with a yoga background. Sophie is also in the Ithaca area in upstate New York, nutritional wellness healer and extraordinaire wise woman. And Tiana, who is also outside of Atlanta, chiropractor, birth doula educator, maybe? Birth educators, and all of them will share more what their expertise is and how Beautycounter is fitting into their offerings that they already have established. It's really, this company can be something that is held on its own and shared on its own, and it can also be work that's woven into the conversations we're already having. And I think the healing arts and wellness is an amazing way to be sharing about safer wellness-related skincare and makeup. So super brief, my background is also in the healing arts. I actually started off as an opera singer, which I love dearly, and to help myself to sing opera and support myself for about 15 years, I practiced massage therapy, as well as I've been a yoga teacher for about 11 years. So this call is near and dear to my heart, and I love that Beautycounter is a way to incorporate all of that while also having a way to be financially stable. I think within all of these careers, it can be that having multiple avenues of income can be a very important part of our offerings. And so this is a great way to do that. I'm going to share with you just briefly about what Beautycounter is, why we were founded, and then I'm going to turn it over to these women. So Beautycounter is a company that's specifically, quote unquote, countering the unregulated personal care industry in the US and Canada. There's essentially no regulation on what we're putting on our skin, which is our largest organ, what we're putting on our skin and our children's skin every single day. There's laws that were updated over 80 years ago in the US. And in Canada, there are certain laws that have been updated more recently, but they're actually not laws. They're strong recommendations, not codified into law. So Beautycounter was born to counter all of this and to get more health protective laws for all of us. We do this through 3 avenues. One of them is education, and it's really conversations just like this. We want our loved ones and our clients, and really we want everybody to just know that there are safer options out there, whether it's Beautycounter or something else. Education is probably the #1 thing about Beautycounter. The second big pillar of this company is advocacy. And I know for me, this is so empowering and important, especially right now at a time when so many of us might feel helpless and hopeless due to the state of the world, to know that we are being a voice for positive change, but not just talking about this, but we are really walking the walk. We're sending consultants to Washington, D.C., to Parliament. We are advocating every single day for more health protective laws across the board, not just for our company, but for all companies to do better and to be held to a higher standard. I'll just say briefly that one of my most dear experiences with this company was 2 years ago. I was sent to Washington, D.C. to advocate with 99 other Beautycounter consultants, 99 other women, to lobby for more health protective laws, and just to be able to sit on Capitol Hill with Congress and share our stories, which is what this is all about. Share our stories, share our why, and really demand better to disrupt this archaic industry was such an empowering experience. I'm going to share 2 statistics, or just a couple statistics that I think are really important to set us up for this conversation, and then I'm going to turn it over. So couple statistics. In the United States, there's been no major federal law governing this entire industry of personal care products since 1938. That doesn't mean just makeup. It's not a women's issue alone. It means toothpaste and deodorant and baby wash and sunscreen and all the things that we put on our skin. Since 1938, there's been over 85,000 chemicals introduced into our society, and less than 10% of those have ever been tested for human health and safety. So we are really wanting to raise the awareness and change that. There's about 30, actually there's 30 ingredients banned in the US that we feel are questionable or harmful in the US, or that the FDA feels that way. In the EU and Europe, there's over 1,400 ingredients banned. So this is a huge difference, right? 1,400 versus 30. In Canada, we have a list of about 600 ingredients that are banned. However, that's not codified into law. So Beautycounter is working to increase the number in the US to a lot more. Also to codify into law Canada's number that are hot listed, and to just bring the awareness so much more to our government, to regulations, to FDA, and to all of us. And then we use our products as quite literally, our products are our agents for change. They're safer formulations, sourced super responsibly, and something that we can all trust, so we don't have to spend hours and hours researching. So there's so much more I could share, but I wanted to pass it over to Evie, who's going to start, and we'll hear just a little from each of these women about how they're incorporating Beautycounter, why they're passionate about this, and a little bit more. Go for it.
Hi, so my name is Evie Bellinger. I am a massage therapist. I have been for about 15 years. I live in the Finger Lakes, and this is my beautiful practice here. I'm very happy to be back to work. So I'm going to go down my list. I get kind of nervous on video, so I wrote everything down. So I want to share my why, which is multifaceted, but I think mainly my daughter and my stepdaughter about the same time started getting interested in wearing makeup every single day. And I was really kind of freaked out at the thought of them buying drugstore makeup, because I'm, you know, pretty aware of the unregulated nature of the industry. And it was also about that time when I learned about Beautycounter, and I was like, this sounds really good. This sounds really too good to be true, you know? So I was very curious and I wanted to hear more. And so it came into my life at such a great time. I also wanted a little bit more of like a dynamic business, because I had been doing it for so long, and I was like starting to get a little bit bored with just like how predictable it was. You know, I love my job. I love working with people, but I wanted a little bit more of a challenge. And, you know, just like for resiliency professionally. And I love sharing with people. Like I'm always educating my clients anyway. So I figured, why not share with them about something that I can incorporate into my business as well. And so how this fits into my life as a complement is, and my business is, I find that I work my Beautycounter business like morning and night a little bit, and in like the spaces in between. You know, I have gaps in between appointments. Sometimes I'm just like, instead of scrolling through Facebook or something, I could be like, you know, following up with somebody, or, you know, just working my business in the cracks. And I love how flexible it is. Like I can be on vacation and still working my Beautycounter business. And that's so amazing to me. It's very, very empowering. So the hesitation that I had to starting this, one was, I didn't know what sort of time commitment it was going to be for like a financial payoff. You know, I wanted to add it into my business to hopefully make some money from it. But I didn't want to be just like working myself to the bone, adding something else on. But also, you know, this business model, I was not really sure about. My husband especially was really nervous at the thought of me, you know, stockpiling products in my garage or something like that. But we did a lot of research. He did in particular. Like I felt pretty good after what I had heard firsthand from my mentor, and what I had read about Beautycounter. But once he really dove in and started researching it, he became like my biggest cheerleader, and he still is. And so I just wanted to build my business slow and steady and in a sustainable way. And I have totally been able to do that. And I guess that's it. I'm really happy to be here.
Well, thanks for sharing, Evie. I love your studio space too. It's beautiful. So who wants to go next? How about Sophie? Would you take over from there?
Absolutely. I'm a little self-conscious that my daughter's practicing cello downstairs and that this house is not very soundproof, so I will do my best to talk over her. But my name's Sophie Alexander, and I am the owner and lead practitioner of a business called the Nutritional Wellness Center of Ithaca. And that is a one-on-one nutritional counseling business that specifically uses a technique called nutrition response testing, which is a form of applied kinesiology to better serve clients really specifics about what their body needs and they need to work on in terms of nutrition. But what's interesting about that work too is that the nutrition response testing picks up a lot about chemical and heavy metal toxicity in people's bodies as barriers to why people aren't doing well or having symptoms or struggling with their health. So I was already very aware, about personal care products and beauty products and toxicity levels. And I thought I had like a good list of resources for my clients, because it was a conversation that came up often, especially deodorants, lotions, things like that. So really my eyes became opened more so once I became a mom. And I had these two little girls, and I was sending one of them to a Montessori school where I had to put sunscreen on her every morning as part of drop-off. And I would buy what I thought were my better brands. And she started developing reactions to them and having issues. And it made me start to look a little deeper, right? And then had a friend doing Beautycounter. And so I basically invited her to come to the office. I was like, hey, come talk about Beautycounter. It seems like such a better option. And, really has such high ratings with the EWG, with the sunscreen and things like that. And she was like, well, why don't you do this? But it just didn't even cross my mind when I reached out to her, because I was like, how can I add one more thing in? Here I am, I'm a mom. I have this busy business. I feel maxed out. Like, why would I be the one to do that? You could come in and talk about it. But then I really realized how doable it was. And I don't think there was one thing. I just, it just became so apparent, well, this is a part of regular conversations with clients every day. I can just be talking about Beautycounter as one of those options, and really working to educate people about the environmental working group and researching their products. So it really, that hesitation disappeared quickly because there was no barrier. Like, it just fit in so beautifully. And I found that, as these conversations came up, people became interested. Before COVID and things like that, I had a beautiful display of the products out and people would try them and I would loan them out to people and things like that. So that has changed a little bit since then. It's now samples and things like that people can take. But I find that once people try it, they love them. They're so high performing, and it's whatever, their need is. But for so many people, the lead in is basics like the sunscreen.
Nice. And I love, Sophie, just hearing both of you and Evie already just talking, it's so clear that your professions, what you guys are already doing and have established yourself as trusted healthcare professionals lends itself so well to this business opportunity, because people are already coming to you and sharing about health issues that they're having. I know I went to Sophie's space about maybe 2 years ago now, and did a small event there, and it was so inviting. And I loved how you had the products there, and like people could just felt very open to asking you questions. And I also have to share that I always talk about you, Sophie, the way that you do the muscle testing, kinesiology. I might not even be saying it right, but I've had that work done on me before. And I love that you do that with the Beautycounter products, and that always, wouldn't you say that like they always test so clean?
They do. They really do. And that's just been striking. Yeah. And people will bring in other brands too. Again, that's been a fun experiment, stuff from the health food store or other recommended brands. And so often they don't test well. And it's, it's some ingredient that's hidden way down there that it's just gobbledygook to people trying to read the labels and understand it. So it's another way to cut through. Like, people don't want to have to research. They don't really want to be told to go, hey, look this up, or go scan this code, or so when you can just say, hey, this works really well, it performs really well, and it's safe, it's a huge reassurance. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's turn it over. Thank you so much for sharing. And let's turn it over to Marty. I know that you also have a nice display, and we're going to hear from Tiana right after. So Marty, take it away.
Hi, I'm Marty Ura, and I live in Atlanta, and our center is called Vista Yoga. And early on, I decided I was going to call it a center, not a studio, because I knew I wanted to bring health and wellness into the space. I grew up in a family where we had gardens, and that we, were really careful. I don't remember my father, other than dusting some of the leaves around the tomato, he was really careful not to get pesticides on our food. And we, recycled, and we took care of the environment. We planted trees. So I had this really deep commitment to the environment, and have been recycling for, almost 4 decades. And my children have been brought up that way. And so with using products, I was in the beauty industry before I ventured into the health and fitness. And then the health and fitness led me to yoga. But along that journey, it was, using a lot of chemicals and feeling, the reaction in my own body. So as far as cosmetics, I used probably almond oil, on my body, and, minimal cosmetics, because I knew that there was some kind of just, innately, you can kind of smell something. You can smell the I don't know what you call the fragrance, right, Jocelyn, and where they hide a lot of these chemicals that should be banned, and that are banned from Beautycounter, are hidden in the fragrances. And so when it came to sunscreen, I was never keen on it, but we used it. We're at the beach, and my kids would use it, and I always had kind of this, I don't know, feeling in my gut. You would say, Sophie, because you would test it and you could feel it, right? But we used it, and a lot of times we would just avoid the midday sun, which is, more possible if you go out early and then late afternoon. And so that was one of the first products. When Jocelyn approached me, a few years ago, I didn't really use a lot of cosmetics. I was 60 and already starting to be very resigned about my skin and about aging. And it's like, I don't see where any of these products are really going to help. Right? I bought creams from the health food store, and, you would wash your face and wake up, and I put the cream on and wake up the next day and go, oh, I don't see any difference. And so you just really start to give up at some point as a woman. Maybe not everybody, I don't now because of Beautycounter, but little by little, I wanted to support my daughter, Adina, who, she actually asked me, Jocelyn, you might not know this, but she was buying the products and she really liked them. And the things that I had bought, the Dew Skin, which was also a favorite because I did like the the tint and then the SPF 25, and I knew that I wasn't damaging my skin or my body. I didn't know the pillars of the company at that point, or it hadn't registered. I'm sure I'd heard it, but it hadn't registered. But I just knew that the products were clean and I wanted to support her. So little by little, I'm using a little bit more. And each one, I'm thinking, wow, this is really nice. It is high performing. But I had other things I wanted to get rid of because I'm very practical. And okay, so I have this mascara and it's not really the best mascara, but I'm just I can't see, like swapping that out yet. And it was really this, when our daughter, Andrea, became a consultant, if you have more than one child, or if you even have a child, that child becomes your teacher in many, many respects, right? And Andrea said to me, Mother, this is everything that you've built at Vista Yoga. I have a kitchen where we do cooking classes to support people in their internal health. We do Ayurvedic classes. We teach them about what they're putting in their body. And we teach them what to do with their bodies and how to come into a state of balance and whole health. And she said, what about what you're putting on your body? And I went, oh, that, got it. And she started explaining to me the B Core concept. And the B Core concept just went right into that deep roots of my upbringing of taking care of the environment and having sustainable. I'm getting cold chills talking about this. Just having products that are sustainable. It makes me want to tear up because my father was like, turn the water off, turn the lights off. Are you thinking about what you're doing through all of your actions? And this week we're at Vista Yoga, and you can sign up for these meditations. Some of our teachers are doing meditations that we're offering every morning, and we have it on a platform. It's free, and on the yamas, which are social restraints. And this week we've been working with Brahmacharya, and Brahmacharya is moderating one's energy. It was thought of as celibacy, and it was used at a time many, hundreds of years ago to work with these stages of life, teenage and, adolescent, teenage, and then as we become an adult. And fast forward, we're now, working with it as a concept of, really being mindful of what we're doing with our energy. And I see Beautycounter as practicing that, is really, are we being mindful of what are we doing with these sacred elements from the earth, and how are we, attaining them all the way through the production, how we're using it, and then as it moves on, how is it impacting the earth? And that really, I see what B Core is. And it's, also supporting, there's an advocacy wing, which you talked about, but there's also the wing that's actually, it's doing philanthropic work and also community. I think that the other thing that I love about Beautycounter is how it builds community. And when I took the plunge, my biggest fear was, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to part of staying a consultant. You can become a consultant, but sustaining this, there is a very, which appears small now, amount of revenue that you do bring in over a 6-month period. That was a stumbling block for me at first. And what I've realized is that as I'm having conversation with people, as when COVID hit, I thought, oh no, how am I going to have conversations with people? How am I going to make my quota, or how am I going to share this? And people have come to me. It's really interesting. People have come to me and reached out to me, and people that I meet in our community, it just is a natural caring thing to bring up into conversation with them. And in that, it opens up a whole world of a way to be able to support them and to offer them, safer, cleaner products for themselves and for their family. And it's, the beauty of it is you can do what you want to do with it. You can do as little or you can do as much. And there's really not, and I really appreciate this from you, Jocelyn, there's support if you want it, and there's no pressure, really. the pressure comes from, I learned this a long time ago from different workshops that I was involved with, the pressure comes from within inside. And so I knew that I could feel a sense of pressure to join, but it was really because I wanted to be part of this. And it's been bigger and more expansive and more wonderful than ever. So coming back to my resignation, it's melted away. I enjoy my age now. I feel supported by Beautycounter, these products. I feel supported by our network of women and men that are involved in this. And I feel really engaged in a conversation that's creating the future. And really, I think that's what yoga is about. I think that's what holistic nutrition is about. I think that's what massage is about, is really how can we be invested in creating a better future. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my why and my.
Now I have to, Marty, that was so well said and just heartfelt. And I just want to just make it clear to everybody listening. So Marty's two daughters, Adina, who's a dear friend, and Andrea, who's also a dear friend, both do Beautycounter. And through them, Marty saw the light and was like, I'm going to try this too. And it's just so great that you three are doing this together.
And actually, I got the big nudge from the oldest, who's coming. She's actually coming to visit with our grandson. They've been quarantined, and yeah, and so I'm super excited too. Yeah, it's been great. And you know, when I right around that time, I'll share this. It's the synchronicity of life. If you can be in the flow, right around the time I decided to do it, I still had a lot of doubt. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And we went up to Washington, D.C. to see the youngest, Adam, who's not a Beautycounter consultant yet, who knows. And we were on his rooftop, and we were enjoying just kind of being there, looking at the Washington Monument. And there was a gentleman over on his laptop, and we started talking. And he actually is a lawyer, environmental lawyer, who works with B Corp companies. And I said, you're kidding. I had just signed up for Beautycounter. And I asked him about Beautycounter. He goes, oh, they're one of my clients. They're the most amazing women. It's the most amazing company. Have you ever been out there? And I said, no, but I would love to. But I think this is really amazing synchronicity that you're there in my space.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I remember that story too.
Look for the signs. That's all. Just be awake and be a witness. And it's there. Yeah. Thank you, Joss.
You, Tiana, I know that you have so much to share as well, and I love the way you offer this within your work. So share with us what you got to.
Okay, so hi guys. I'm Dr. Tiana. I'm a chiropractor, a birth and postpartum doula, and a childbirth educator in the outer Atlanta area. And I have actually been using Beautycounter products for quite a while because my own skin was a little bit on the problematic side. And knowing all the junk that is in things, I went to like kind of what Marty said, like just using the bare basics, like coconut oil. But it wasn't quite doing the trick. And I got introduced to Beautycounter and absolutely loved it, but I just wasn't like ready to really put it out there. Well, over some time, one of my main things is that I work with families. I work with a lot of women who are busy, hardworking mamas who, you know, always have a baby on the hip or pregnant or both a lot of times. And so they needed like simple and easy things to do. And when I became a mom myself, it was definitely very evident. I was in the same place like the people that were coming to me. And one thing that I really love about Beautycounter, one of the things that I love is the fact that I don't have to do a gazillion hours of research. Just like the moms that I'm working with, they don't have the time for it. Like, sure, that seems like a really good idea, but in reality, like, don't make them do homework. Like, just don't, because they're not gonna. So I really found the confidence in knowing that I could just be like, hey, here's this really great product. And it's clean, it's all those things that matter to my patients. And you don't have to do extra work on it. And the moms are like, yeah, that's amazing. And it definitely made a difference. One of the things that I noticed was that the conversations came really easy because people were looking for solutions for any number of things, and they needed easy answers. So a friend of mine approached me about Beautycounter, and I was like, oh yeah, I know about them. And she's like, yeah, but how about like actually carrying the product or sharing about the product and stuff? And I was like, oh, I mean, okay, let me think about it. And I was invited to a little meetup in Atlanta, and Josh was there. And so I met these amazing women who were like really making a huge difference in the business. And they were business women who did Beautycounter. And it was really cool. And I just loved the energy, the community of it. And I was like, all right, let's do this. I mean, it was another couple of weeks, but I joined, and it's been about 1.5 years now, and I have not looked back 1 second. I have a little display in the office, and I talk to people about it. A lot of times my clients will take samples home or, like products to try out, and everybody that has tried them has absolutely loved them, which was definitely awesome. One of the things that it's made a difference in my life is being a mom of a busy toddler. We've talked about sunscreen. Using the face stick was a game changer. And I remember when one of the times I was putting it on my son, and my nephew stepped down in front of me, and just as I finished putting it on Mateo, I put it on him. And my sister-in-law said, that worked. And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay, I'm going to order some right this second. Because, again, we need easy solutions, just easy solutions. So it was kind of a no-brainer. One of the big things that made me hesitate was feeling like I was being overly salesy. That is just not my favorite. I don't like to do things like that. But really, Beautycounter has really given me the confidence to step into my mission that really coincides with theirs and be able to have these conversations that we're already having. So that was really huge. And I don't feel like I'm being overly salesy. Like, I can offer somebody a product or, some information. They can take it or leave it, but at the same time, it's nice to just have these conversations continually. And that has felt like, I definitely feel like I have more confidence doing that now than I did before I started working with Beautycounter. I was actually just telling a friend of mine that since I've been with Beautycounter, my business overall has built just from the skills and different techniques that I've learned with since being with Beautycounter, and just some better ways to kind of tweak my business that work better overall. So that has been really exciting. So, and
I love that, especially what you just said at the end, because I do feel like we learn new skills with this company because they help us so much with, first of all, our confidence level, our stretching of our comfort zone, even to say yes to this. And then once we do say yes, how to share about it authentically, stretching our comfort zone, but in a really impactful way. And I think all of the above just really can help our lives, whether it's with another business, marketing, empowerment in so many ways. So thank you all so much for sharing. I think that each of you has a different story, but it's very relatable in ways that I think that people hearing this hopefully will resonate with as well. I want to close in a couple minutes, but I first just want to share just really briefly what the basics of what the business aspect can look like. And obviously, if anybody is listening to this, when you listen to this, you're going to reach back out to the person that invited you here. And I know that they'd be happy to share more specifically what it could look like and be a fit for you. But there's really there's really no risk. I honestly feel like there's no risk to just give it a shot. If you're feeling the tug, if you're curious about it, there's no reason to wait. give it a shot, see how it feels. Even just give it 6 months or a year, 6 months or a year. And then if it's not a good fit, there's nothing lost. So it's as little as $50 to enroll as a consultant. We have 2 different enrollment options right now, $50 or $98, and they're a little different, but the person that invited you can explain. We have starter set options that range anywhere from approximately $300 to over $1,000. There's no pressure to buy any of them if you're not able to right now, but if you can, they're deeply discounted, about 40 to 44% discounted. You also get a 25% discount as a consultant moving forward. There's no monthly minimums. We don't keep inventory. And then in terms of getting paid, your income, your commission is between 25 to 35% each month, depending on your numbers, 25 to 35%. You can do this just like that, and that's totally supported and fine. And you can choose to bring people on and build a team if you want to do so. There's no pressure either way. Some people do this 1 to 2 hours a week, and some people do it 20 to 30 hours a week, and it's all okay, all supported. But the fact of there being basically no risk, like the only thing that you would lose if it doesn't work out is that you get a bunch of products at a really big discount. That weighed against the amazing potential for win and for gain, whether it's financial, confidence building, community, so much more. I would just say that talk to the person that invited you, see if you can just give it a shot, and we will all be here to help support along the way as well. So I don't see any questions on the Zoom, and I'm not seeing that on the Facebook either. So I think that in terms of timing, we will go ahead and close it out, but for sure leave comments. We will come back and answer questions that way. And I just appreciate each of you so much for being here and taking the time to share and taking the time to listen. So with that, does any of you have anything else you wanted to share, or are we good to go?
Thank you, Joss. Thank you, each of you, for being here.
Yeah, much love to everyone, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day. Stop recording.